What's up? I have got a nugget for you. Come closer. Closer, come closer. We have cracked the code on the debt collection lawsuits. We are slaying the debt collectors' tactics. We are slaying the debt collectors' attorneys. We are slaying the debt collection lawsuits. How? I'm glad you asked. What's up, Slayers? This is Terry Jordan Adams of Sued by the Debt Collector. You are killing the game. You are getting your cases dismissed. Oh my gosh. You're taking the debt collector from predator to prey. Oh, I'm a proud mama. Anyway, now I've got my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that would be the reason why. In this episode, I'm going to discuss becoming a slayer and how to slay your debt collection lawsuits. Okay, in the first section, there's going to be two parts, and that's going to deal with slaying the debt collection lawsuits. And I'm just going to do an overview on that. I'm not going to go in deep because if you follow the process, it's going to work for you. All right. But the third part is dealing with you becoming a slayer. Okay. Excuse me. I need to go a little bit deeper on that because if you don't get this, it could put your case at risk. Okay. So that's why I wanted to focus on the third part because it's really important. Now, but first, this is Terry Jordan Adams of Sued by the Debt Collector, suedbythedebtcollector.com. If you have been sued by the debt collector and you need help and you don't know where to begin, visit us at suedbythedebtcollector.com. We are an excellent source when your budget is not ready for an attorney. We got you. Okay, visit us at suedbythedebtcollector.com. And don't forget to text us consult to CONSULT to 877-505-0618 so you can get a consultation. We want to make sure that we keep you on track. Again, text consult to 877-505-0618. Okay, now let's get into this episode. All right. Let's see. So, what does it take to become a slayer and to slay your debt collection lawsuits? So, in the first part, we're going to start with the overview of the first part. The first part deals with strategy. Okay, we have developed a strategy identified as our ADA formula, ADA formula. And it stands for audit, defend or defense, and then answer, ADA. It is the strategic implementation for the answer to your debt collection lawsuit. In other words, we give you strategy, we tell you how to do it so that you can answer it well. Okay. Many defendants, upon being sued, they believe that they can just represent themselves. And what happens is they show up and they want to tell their story. Well, the problem with that is that puts you at risk. As you go to tell your story, you may be unintentionally agreeing or admitting to something that's either not true or, incomplete. And what that can do is that can put you at risk. And the judge can just decide, well, you admitted to the debt, but that's not the big picture. Okay. So you don't want to think that you can just represent yourself and just explain what happened because you're going to lose. We don't want that to happen. Okay. And, or you may hire an attorney, and then the attorneys play the attorney games and they do the continuances or they have incomplete information, and then it just prolongs the process. And I'm not interested in that. We want to get to the end and get it out of our lives, right? But the thing about attorneys, they also don't educate you. They don't tell you of what's being claimed against you in the lawsuits. Okay, so Strategy. This is our first part. So now let's talk about this. Um, the first A stands for audit. What we do is we show you how to identify what they're claiming against you when you're auditing your lawsuit. We show you how to verify what they're saying they're in compliance with, because just because they tell you that doesn't make it true. So what else? Um, oh, we show you how to identify where they're misrepresenting themselves, and we show you where they're putting words in your mouth. That's a big one. Okay. And so we don't ever want to just admit to whatever they're saying. So basically, when we do the audit, we show you what to do, what is the cause of action. When they're putting words in your mouth and they're trying to get you to admit to these things, we show you how they're misrepresenting themselves, a lot of times as the original creditor in the case of being a debt buyer. We show you how to break down the lawsuit. Okay. And so if you don't understand the charge, then you don't know how to defend yourself. Okay, so we break all of that down for you. And we give you things in the course, we give you things to compare. I use my real cases so you'll be able to compare your lawsuit to mine, and then you can check for similarities and that kind of thing. Okay, so the D stands for defend. Okay, basically what you're doing is you're taking everything that you learned from the audit portion of the ADA process or ADA formula. You're taking those things, and then you're starting to defend yourself. Okay, they like you to admit and to deny, and we show you how to not put yourself into a trap where you're admitting to something and that's really not what they're asking in the question. And so you're admitting to something that may not really be true, and then they use it against you. Okay. Then what we do is there's a two-part process to the D: defend and defense. So I just call it the D. The defense side says, okay, now that I've defended myself against what they've said or what they're claiming in their lawsuit, now we flip the tables and we put them on the defense. Now they have to respond to your defenses, the things that you're saying, the things that you're claiming. Affirmative defenses is actually what they're called. And when you create affirmative defenses, a lot of times that will win your case all by itself, because it makes it very difficult for them to defend themselves against them. And so they will walk away. So we want to make sure that's crafted right, and we show you how to do all of that. Okay. And then the final A is the answer. Once you've done the audit portion, you've identified all the claims that they've made, and then you do the defend. Okay, you defend yourselves against the claims that they're making, and then the defense, the other side of the coin, is where you but basically take them from predator to prey. That's where they now have to defend themselves against what you're saying. Then you take it all and you put it all together. And once you put it together, that's where you create your answer. You formulate your answer based on the audit and the defense and the defend. And then you file it with the courts. Once you get the file with the courts, you get them served, and you get the proof of service on record. And that, in a nutshell, is going to help you to avoid your default judgment. So it's very important that you do follow the process and understand exactly what they're saying in the lawsuits, what they're claiming. So that's why our formula, it works. It just really, really, really works. Okay. Now, let me just say this. There are a couple of ways of implementation that you can utilize us for. Of course, our course, in our course, what it does, it gives you a really comprehensive, detailed, we've done the work for you. There's examples, there's common laws that are used, there's my real cases where you were able to make the comparison. There's a color-coded cheat sheet so that you can use, so that you can start to go through your own lawsuit. So it's really, really detailed. Okay. Then I'm still working on the ebook, but once it gets released, the information is really great also. But the difference between the course and the ebook will be that you'll be doing your own homework. And so you're going to have to spend a lot more time than you would with the course in order to pull it together. It's still valuable though. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there for you. All right. Okay, so part 2 is education. So we got the strategy and we've got the education. They go hand in hand. Let me just start out from the beginning. Finish the course. It's the information that's there for you, the education that's there for you, you need. You got to finish the course. You enroll in a course, finish the course. Don't sabotage yourself. I'll get into that more later, but there's a reason why I'm saying this. Then if you have, in the course, there's so much education associated with you fighting your lawsuits that you be willing to share this information with other people. It's so incredibly valuable. Also, if you have not done so yet, go to our YouTube channel. It is called Sued by the Debt Collector Podcast. Make sure you put podcast on there. You'll see a pink badge. Subscribe. And then consume all of the videos. All of the videos. There's a reason for all of this. You need to do this. Also, if you like the audio, you can go to Google, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, any podcast channel you listen to, whatever your favorite is, go there and subscribe or follow us on Sued by the Debt Collector and consume all of the episodes. Now, the reason why is because that information is so important. Okay. What's happened is when I first developed the course, unfortunately, there were so many requests being made and the people were waiting to the last minute to reach out to me that they weren't able to consume the content fast enough. And so I had to take some of the information out and give just like what would get them through the process. But in that, the portion of it where it was dealing with the mindset was not available in the present course. So that's the reason why I'm telling you, consume the videos, consume the episodes and the audio, because that's going to help you beef up and give you the knowledge that you need to know, okay, to be a slayer. I'm getting to that, okay? So make sure you do that. And I press hard on doing things with a sense of urgency because you are bound by time constraints when you've been sued by the debt collector. So you only have a certain amount of time to respond to your lawsuit. And if you dilly-dally, if you wait and you procrastinate, if you do all of the rest of that, what happens is you start to lose time and you set yourself up for failure or stress or chaos or, a bunch of other things. So don't put yourself at risk. I really press hard on that, okay? Now, we are going to move on to part 3. And this is what it takes to become a slayer. But let me tell you a very important story. And I'm going to be referencing my notes here. So I received a phone call from one of my clients. He had enrolled in the program. He contacted me and he proceeded to tell me about these 7 lawyers that told him the same thing, and that if he fought the lawsuit that he was gonna lose and that he needed to settle. And they told him, they just filled his head about how he was gonna lose. So then what he did is he called me and he proceeded to challenge my knowledge. Well, let me just say this to you. I don't put fluff out there. The stuff, the information that I give you is researched and backed up and is tested and proven. And I have my own personal results and we have client results. And, it's not stuff that I'm just, trying to fill content with. I'm here to help. Okay. So I ended up in a pretty heated conversation. And unfortunately, he bought into their hype. Oh, it's not going to work. You need to settle, what she's got going on, because of his amount. His amount was, and I'll have to do a video on this. It was above the limited amount, because when you have a civil case, it's limited, which is under 25,000, and unlimited, which is over 25,000. And his was apparently over 25,000. But guess what? I don't care about that. What I teach you in the course and in my program has nothing to do with the amount that it is, and it has no bearing on your case, because of how we attack the lawsuit, how we discredit the debt collector. So while these other lawyers are saying, oh, what she's got, it doesn't work for this amount, they have no knowledge, because they had never even been exposed to my course. They didn't enroll. And then he only finished a portion of the first module. So he didn't even get through the 4 modules. So, and as I told him, I said, you are listening to these people that don't even have any knowledge of what sued by the debt collector does, and you have no point of reference because you didn't finish the course. So for you to come to me and, take shots at me about, what I need to do is, you need to put this on the website. No, I don't. This is what you've bought into their limiting beliefs. They've filled your head with stuff and you bought it, but that has nothing to do with me. So anyway, because he wasn't prepared, he was not able to contend with the things that they were saying to him. So even though he enrolled in the program, he didn't finish the first module. So he allowed them to shake his confidence, okay? Because they were lawyers. I slay lawyers all the time. That I don't fear lawyers. I slay lawyers all the time. They got into his head, and it worked. So let's talk about this. Here is where he failed. He did not consume the YouTube videos or the podcast episodes. So he didn't have knowledge to speak their language. Okay, so that is really important. So let me see. They changed his focus. And what happened is, because they specialized in settling. Okay. So they filled his head telling me, it wasn't going to work. You need to settle, you need to settle, you need to settle. Well, the problem is had he consumed my episodes, I did an episode that talked about how to hire an attorney. And I talked about the attorneys that specialize. You need an attorney that's willing to fight for your rights. They weren't willing to do that. They just saw him as an easy mark, and they wanted to get money from him. Okay? So they convinced him that he would not win. Here is where he failed. They told him, based on his amount, that we couldn't help him. They didn't even know us to even make that claim. They had no knowledge of our program. Okay? Our program is so good. Let me move on. Here is where they failed. He failed. He bought into their lie and hired one of them to negotiate a settlement because they told him he would lose. Now, let me share with you what I discovered. They dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. The attorneys dropped the ball. And the debt collectors, dropped the ball multiple times. He did not complete the course. So that was his first mistake. And so months went by with him not addressing his debt collection case. Okay. And he didn't get any of the education. He didn't listen to the videos, listen to the podcasts. He didn't, so he didn't get anything out of that. Okay. So he wasn't able to slay anything. Then his attorneys failed him. He told them that the attorney told him that he could negotiate a settlement with the debt collectors. But guess what? He could not deliver. The debt collector rejected the settlement. In addition to that, the attorney was served the lawsuit and did not respond to it because he thought that, oh, well, I'm negotiating a settlement anyway, and I got this in the bag. Well, guess what? Because the attorney didn't respond, he didn't respond on time, that set the client up for a default judgment. That was grounds for a default judgment. That attorney, he should be reported to the bar. Get a refund, do whatever you need to do. But the attorney set him up for failure and he didn't do his job. He did not deliver. Now, the debt collector, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother bunch of chaos. The debt collector, they did not show up for the status conference. They did not file a proof of service saying that the lawsuit was served to the plaintiff or the plaintiff's attorney. They did not file for a default judgment, so the court clerk had to get involved, and they intervened, and now it's pending an order to show cause hearing. Okay, so now, but here's the silver lining. There could be a silver lining in this. If the case is dismissed based on the court clerk setting this up, it's most likely going to be dismissed without prejudice, which means that they can come back and refile. But all of the mistakes that have been made up to this point, all the ones that I just named, the client may be able to recover from. Okay? So this means that if they refile, the client has a second chance to still win his case. Okay? So, but in order for him to become a slayer, if this case does get dismissed, he needs to finish the course. He needs to eat the videos and the podcast. He needs to get through all of that because of all of the mistakes that were made. They're likely gonna refile. Okay, so if he does, this time he will be ready for them. He needs to get to the strategy that's in the course. He's already paid for it. It's already done. All he has to do is do the work. So that's all I'm saying. And this will help to build his confidence. Okay. And he will not be able to do that unless, he builds up his knowledge. So let's talk about why building your confidence is critical. Being sued by the debt collector is already challenging, and it's emotional, and it's scary. How well do you think you will do if you're not prepared? How well do you think you will do if you don't know who is suing you? How well do you think you will do if you don't respond on time? What are they claiming against you? What about the harassing and emotional tactics they're using on you? How about them using the court to defraud you? How well will you do if you are not prepared? That's why you need the education. So being prepared builds your confidence. You know what else builds your confidence? Following in the footsteps of somebody that's already done what you want to do. Why do you think rich people become rich? Rich people become rich because they get a mentor, and then they do what the mentor instructs them to do, and then they repeat the success, or they repeat the processes, and they get like results. So that also will build the confidence. Okay. Sued by the debt collector has a proven process and formula. Not only have I personally slayed debt collection lawsuits, their attorneys, and so on, but we have clients that are killing the game. And we want to continue with that success, but it requires you to be a slayer. Okay? You have to build up your mindset so that you believe that you can win. If you don't continue to deposit and renew your mind and get understanding, then you won't think that you can win, because it's a grim, dark subject, right? When my son was young, I would always tell him when he was in school, and all you're getting, get understanding. That's biblical. Get understanding. There's a reason why you need understanding, so then you can operate in wisdom. Just saying. So here's a major reason you have to build your confidence. People are going to try to get into your head. And debt collectors are not a stranger with that. Debt collectors, they try to manipulate you and, make false claims and, make you feel guilty and bad and, all of that. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to that. So that's debt collectors attorneys, and then the biggest offenders are those that have specialties like those lawyers that settle the accounts, or they want you to file bankruptcy because their intentions are not just to help you, but they're just attempting to get payment from you, so they're willing to discredit another process that works. Okay. I find them to be the biggest offenders. So, anyway, at the end of the day, you have to commit to what your expectations are, what you expect to get out of this. And if you choose to represent yourself, know that Sued by the Debt Collector is the leading self-represented experts against debt buyer lawsuits. Okay, we have a proven formula, that is our ADA formula, that helps you avoid default judgments, and our clients are slaying their debt collection lawsuits on a daily basis. I will make sure to put a couple of videos in there because I believe that you need to hear some things. One, I'm going to put how to hire a lawyer video at the end of this. Also, I'm going to include another one where LD does a testimony and she talks about her success. Okay, so again, this is Terry Jordan Adams of Sued by the Debt Collector, suedbythedebtcollector.com. Thank you for joining us in this episode, and we'll check you out in the next one. Bye-bye.